Hey. All right. So I did this thing on Instagramio where I posted a whole bunch of pictures from like moments in my life, just talking about shit, about my journey and my process. And I just really want to talk about like my whole process based on like those little posts, just because I felt like I got some responses that made me feel like I want to go a little bit more in depth, like talking wise. So yeah, here I am. But okay, I started off in like 2016, really like peak points in my journey, like really like key stepping stones that like stuck out to me. So I'll go from there. So I'm gonna start from like 2014, 2015, and just like, oh, how intriguing my life has been and how mysterious I have been. And I just I love talking about my experience now because like I really am able to process that shit through talking about it. So yeah, here we go. 2014 is probably when I noticed like my biggest struggle, battle, whatever, with mental health started. Like honestly, like teenage years are fucking rough. And I was reading this post that was talking about how like we're not really educated on the death of our child self going into teenagerhood or whatever, being a teenager. And that really spoke to me because I'm just like, we're not really sure of how to go about it. Like we still have like this like feeling of needing to be provided for, and you know, a lot of our parents aren't even grown-ups here, so you know, how can we really expect them to do that? But yeah, not everyone is blessed with the grown-up. Most of us come here to be the grown-up to our parents, and I know that I struggled with that, maturing very fast as well in a lot of aspects. So I was very stuck in that and very stuck on that. I didn't really have like a sense of independence, and I'm still in the process of getting that emotional independence back. I've been studying a lot of my astrology lately, and something that I've been on currently is my moon conjunct Saturn, and that just indicates a lot of emotional starvation in my early on childhood. It also indicates that I was someone who lacked empathy in a past time, and that I came here to learn that lesson, learn that it all starts in the self. And really that spoke to me in a lot of ways because I see a lot of the significant points that I was mentioning on my Instagram posts. It was just really a lot of me talking about codependency and emotional, especially emotional codependency, um, and just getting lost in people. And I love astrology for really giving me a more clear perspective, because also my Mars in Pisces talks about the codependent escapism behavior that, you know, the Pisces can get lost in. And I just see like that for myself, and being able to like pull myself out of it slowly but surely, and being able to acknowledge those moments in my life has been super powerful to me. And I just really want to start acknowledging myself for the things that I have overcome and the things that I have experienced, and brought that into, what's that word, and I just brought that into motion in my life. So yeah, 2014, 2015 was a really dense year. I was probably like 12 going on 13. And it's just when I realized like I was just really upset about everything that had happened to me up until that point. Like I was just really mad about always being so like financially unstable, like in my family. Like I'm 12 years old, I was always worried about like bills. I moved around a lot, like we got evicted a lot. And you know, mental health, like it really is important, and I wasn't taught that it was important, because you know what's important is that you pay your bills. What's important is that you know, have a place to lay your head at night. Like all the basics, like the lowest level of needs was like the biggest level of needs in my eyes, because that's what I was taught. And I wasn't really taught that your emotional needs or your mental needs were not like they were not a priority at all. Like, I didn't even have people around me who even talked about mental health or depression or anxiety. Like, I didn't have that shit. So I was just like really confused when it came to me being in that state. Like, I was like, why do I feel so bad like all the time? Like, I feel like I don't want to live. And you know how people get when you start talking about suicide. Like, people are like, what the fuck? Like, you're good, you have all your shit, like you're not struggling as bad as you could. There's people who are starving. We are starving here. We don't have proper fucking people around us. Like, I don't know. It was just a really crazy mess that I was in and that I had always been in. I'm the oldest sibling of 2 siblings, and basically I just took on the responsibility of my younger sister at like age 4, really. So I was doing the Mamayana. I was Mamayana. And I always felt like there was never really space for me to express that I wanted to be a kid. I didn't know how to be a kid. I didn't know how to stay in a child's place, so called, like they were always telling me to do, because I wasn't in a child's fucking place. I didn't have child responsibilities. I had grown-up responsibilities. I had responsibilities to be taking care of other people when I didn't even know how to take care of myself. So I got really, really lost like 2014, 2015, and all that shit just started hitting my ass. Like, it was like, woo, sit down. Like, it was just like, sit the fuck down. And I got like really sucked into this tunnel. Like, I would say, like, I have minimal memories because of photos and videos and stuff, but like, oh my god, that shit was so thick of an experience. Like, it was a thick ass experience. So I'm going to talk about what I do remember. I just remember being clouded all the time. Like, I was very lethargic. I slept so fucking much. Like, I think that's the most I've ever slept in my life. Like, I slept like a pregnant bitch. Like, and honestly, I was pregnant with the new self, but like, I didn't know. So I was just like scared. I was like, what the fuck was going on? There was like this whole energetic, like dark, like energy around me. Like, it was just dark, and everybody would always talk about how I always looked so mean and I always had an attitude and like, life's not that bad, smile. And like, I was just like, bro, like, this shit is dead. Like, this shit is dead as fuck. Like, and you think I want to smile? Like, you think I want to laugh? You think I want to kiki? No, I don't. I just want to feel good. And yeah, I started getting heavy until like that's when I was like started being introduced to like alcohol and weed and masturbation. I was very fond of sex, very young, like 4 to 5 young type shit. And it was an experience that really opened my eyes. Fucking mosquitoes, bro. It was an experience that really opened my eyes, like, as a child, that like I had some heavy life lessons, and I had a different path than the people who were around me, especially my family. I had a very different path. So I knew that I was very wise at a young age. I was very emotionally in tune with my surroundings, and that comes from like hyper awareness of like being molested and just like watching my surroundings so like oh my god, where am I, like all the time. Like, and that would happen a lot. Like, I just was able to really give people what they needed at such a young age, whether that be sexually, emotionally. Like, I was just very in tune with the emotional needs of people, and I love that because I was studying my astrology, and just having like Mars in Pisces or whatever, like that shit is so powerful, because you go through all these things that like are painful, but they also give you like a really high vantage point when it comes to like emotional things, like being more in tune than others, like just gauging what people need basically. And I really love that from my experience, because I see the stuff that happened and I used to be so confused, and I'm like, bro, like what's going on for real? Like, what's really going on? But I know now what the fuck was really going on, because that shit was there to teach me a lot of what I know now, and what I'm able to be like, okay, that was for my that was for something that was really going to bring me into a really high point in life. So I give thanks for that all the time, even though it's hard to deal with sometimes and hard to accept. But I'm glad I'm able to like move through now and be like, okay, I can use this, I can work with this. But yeah, okay, so 15, I was like sleeping all day, really sad, really bad. I had a lot of issues in my stomach area. Like I had a lot of bathroom problems. Like I couldn't use the bathroom properly. I was really nervous to use the bathroom in public places, and I was going to school at the time, so I would just like hold my like bowel movements and stuff, and that shit was like really crazy that I did that. Like now seeing how important it is to use the bathroom when you have to use the bathroom, and like fart when you have to fart, like that shit was really bad. And I just want to put that out there because I know some people may have problems using the bathroom, but like use the fucking bathroom. Like that shit was crazy. And yeah, I remember just like having these really tormenting experiences using the bathroom. Like that shit was so bad, and like I don't know what that is connected to. Like right now I'm like still trying to figure that out, and I'm just like, okay, like what was that like trying to teach me? But yeah, just like having a nervous stomach too. Like I noticed like a lot of the times when I got anxiety, like my bathroom problems got really bad, and that shit was painful as fuck. So yeah, like 15, having those problems. I was just really to myself, very heavy into self-pleasure and all that. So yeah, I got introduced to like drinking and smoking and being around people who had access to that type of stuff. I was always friends with like older ass people that had access to that type of shit, and I'm just like, it's really the energy I was giving off. Like I could hang with the big boys, but that shit was actually wild, that I was literally like 15 years old hanging out with like 26-year-olds, and these people were like still in the same place as me mentally. So I was like, okay, like this don't feel too far off. Like it don't feel like I'm hanging out with like people who I don't belong with. No, these motherfuckers were right where I was at mentally, so it was a match. So I'm like, okay, let me do what I gotta do. And then I actually started meeting people at like 15, 16. I started meeting people who were my age. No, this is like, no, 14, 15, like my 14, 15-year-old stage. I was like starting to meet people who were like my age, and we was doing like young hood rat kid shit. So it was like, it was better to go from being around those older ass people to being with people my age, and like we were just sneaking around doing it. Like it was more fun for me. Like it was more of a broad experience. I felt like I was getting more like pleasure out of that than being with older people who were just like, here, take this. But yeah, either way, I was getting high, I was getting drunk. Like it was just like my process. But okay, yeah, so now I'm friends with people my age and stuff, and this is when I just started realizing like I had really bad self-esteem issues, because the people that I was friends with like were really fucked up. Like bro, like honestly, some of the experiences that I've been with some of you bitches, like I really don't even want to drag y'all's name in the dirt, but y'all have no like, I had no morals, I had no integrity either. I was young, like I wasn't taught to be like a good friend or whatever, but like that shit was actually fucking crazy. Like you just know, as a decent human being, some of the shit that I was going through is like, you don't do that to somebody. So I was just like, wow, like it's crazy as fuck. But yeah, I always was in like complicated friendships, and really codependent ones that were like, I didn't even know what the fuck codependency was. I didn't even know people were using me at that point. But like, yeah, I always just equated my value to what I could bring like physically into someone's life. And I used to have friends that would like buy me shit and then like use that against me. I was particularly friends with this one girl who like, her mom loved me and everything. Like they were always like talking about how much they loved me, how much of a good friend I was, but she would literally treat me like shit, bro. And like I don't even want to like get crazy on it about it, but like bro, it was literally some like fucked up ass shit. And then would be mad like when I had other friends and stuff. So it just made me feel really guilty and like low about myself because I was friends with those people. But these are all reflections at the end of the day. And like me learning that now, I'm so grateful, because I was really down bad about it at like 13, 14. Like bro, like you're gonna be down bad if your friends are treating you like shit. But yeah, I had actually some like this group of friends that was really fucking cool, and like, you know, we resonated on like a weirdo ass like just outcast level. So it was better for me to be with them. But then I was also just trying to be validated and accepted by the pretty girls or whatever. So yeah, that was a whole process of mine that I was like going through, and I didn't really know how to be honest. I still am working on that because it's hard. Like just when you want to be a people pleaser and when you're used to being a people pleaser or like having to be validated by people, like it's hard to just be like, hey, like don't do that to me. Like don't treat me like shit. Like it's just hard. Like it's really really hard to just be honest about that. So yeah, that's where I was at like 14, 15, just really using the alcohol and the weed as like a crutch as fuck, like through my whole really bad depression era, the Great Depression era of Jada's life. Like I was just smoking, drinking, sleeping. You know, I moved away from like my hometown or whatever for a little bit in my life at that point, and that also is what like triggered me to go into like that like sleeping and just like masturbating all day phase, because I was really sad that I wasn't close to my friends anymore. I was going to a school where like it was really unfamiliar. It was a bigger school. I had a lot of social anxiety to begin with, and then I go to a big ass school, so I just started skipping school. Like I missed like a whole quarter in the year. So they were like, yeah, shorty, you gotta start coming to school. And then I was like, ugh, don't wanna bring myself up into that building, but here we are. But then eventually we moved back to where I was from, and then I got a little bit more happy. Like I was still depressed, yo. I was still sleeping all day, still doing the things, but yeah, I was a little bit more happy because I had my familiarity around me. And as a Capricorn, you know how much that matters for you to be somewhere you know, because yeah, you will go crazy. But I think that change definitely triggers a movement in yourself, like a shift in yourself for you to see like different parts. And now that I know that, I'm trying to get more comfortable with the change and being okay with things shifting. So yeah, now here we go, 15 to 16. This is where it gets crazy. Okay, so 15 to 16, I would say like I'm back in my hometown. I'm back where I know where shit is at. I'm comfortable, and that's when I started popping my shit. Like I started being so much more, what is that word? Like out there and extroverted. Like I loved being around people. I just loved being around people. Like that's just what I was doing at the time. Like I was literally going out, not doing very much, still in the same hometown and stuff. She's good. But yeah, like I was really more out there, and going to little social gatherings and stuff. And that is when I discovered the great sex. LOL. Yeah, that's when I lost my virginity at like 15. And I was talking about this on my story because it was such a key point in like my journey. But yeah, okay, so when I lost my virginity, I really didn't feel like it was something foreign, because before that I had been like masturbating and like actually putting my like fingers and stuff inside of myself. So it was different. Like I didn't feel like that was like like when I lost my virginity, it was so underwhelmed. Like I wasn't like one of those virginity girls that was like, oh my god, you took my virginity. No, he actually even thought that I wasn't a virgin myself because of the way that I performed. I wasn't sucking dick good or anything like that. It was just a good, like, it wasn't like awkward. Like I was just like, okay, do it. Like I wasn't like, oh my god, it's gonna hurt. Like no, I was like, go ahead nigga, like just do it, like whatever. But yeah, I lost my virginity, and he was a lot older than me, I will say that. Yikes. But I was a grown bitch. Like I told you, I was already very mature at a young age. Like I wasn't new to this shit. Like I literally knew what the fuck it do. Like I knew, pop that shit off. Like, so yeah, 15 to 16, I lost my virginity. Then I got into like this little situationship. Shout out to you, dude number 2, because you were the one who kind of like settled me down for a little bit, because I was just so like, I have a boyfriend, I don't want to do that. But I was doing that shit at the end because fuck you. But yeah, so yeah, I lost my virginity. Then a few months, maybe like 2 or 3 months after I had gotten with somebody, the second person, my second body, yeah, we was together for a minute, so I didn't think anything of like being with other people or like being a hoe, quote unquote, or whatever. But yeah, after that second person, them bodies started rolling in. Them bodies definitely started rolling in. I was busting my shit. Like I really, really was. Like, and I say that with no shame now. A little bit of shame, a little bit of guilt because, you know, programs or whatever. But really, I've been seeing a lot of women come out and talking about just expressing your sexuality and how you have to explore that without shame. And that's what I did. I was very young. I was very going through this shit on my own. So I just had to experience. It wasn't like, damn. It wasn't like it wasn't like I was told like, hey, this is what happens during sex. No, I was showed this is what happens during sex. This is what happens when you get touched. This is an orgasm. Like this is this, and I experienced that shit. I didn't get told that. It wasn't word of mouth stories. It was actually my experience. So I was just doing what I knew best, and I'm like, wow, that bitch is powerful. Like I am powerful as fuck, and I see the gifts that my life has given me, the knowledge that it has given me, the experiences that it has given me, and I just love speaking about it now. So I just wanted to make some video notes. But yeah, here I am, young as fuck, still escaping through drugs, substances, whatever. But now what's in the mix is sex. Love that for myself. And it was fun. I'm not even gonna deny, like, the shit was mentally tormenting sometimes. I remember, wait, no, okay. So this is one thing I also want to mention about my journey is, oh damn. What I want to mention about my journey is birth control and antidepressants. So me being on birth control and antidepressants, I literally had this manic ass episode that like brought me to my core. Like it brought me to my core within like I don't even know what to say. It just brought me to my core, and it was scary as fuck. Like birth control gets you so far away from your like your knowing and your intuition in your womb. And I don't even want to speak that to people who do take it, because you know, do what you do what you know. But don't take that shit. Do not take that shit. Them antidepressants, bro, them fucking sedators, that shit, I can't even describe to you. Like my skin was fucking crawling. I was literally numb emotionally. Like I told my mom, like I literally flat out said I just want to kill myself. Like, and I kept repeating that over and over. Like I just wanted to kill myself. And now that I know what I know, and I've seen people talk about like their journey and like just the process of that, I didn't know that suicide really was a thing. Like, you know, I wasn't really like comfortable with talking about it. But yeah, that shit is wild, and it's a process, it's an experience, and it's something you have to go through, or it has to go through you, to be honest. And either you make it out or you get stuck or whatever. But shit, that shit is real, and you have to feel it. So yeah, them antidepressants whooping the bitch ass. I was not sleeping in school. I was fucking what is that word? I was just lethargic once again. Like it was just a whole process. I think I slept my entire teenage life away, but somehow managed to get in a lot of experience at the same time. It was fucking wild. But yeah, that is that. Let me take a sip of water. But yeah, very confused. I started therapy. That's how I got the antidepressants. Therapy was very fucking uncomfortable for me to even like talk about it, and especially me being in a fucking group setting talking about my emotions in my day and all this, and I was just like, no, don't want to do that. Like that shit was weird. It was wild. It was just crazy. Like I was just like, don't want to do it. But I did it, and eventually some years later, wait, so I was on antidepressants and I was drinking and I was doing a lot of sex, and that combination was like KO my spirit. Like literally don't have no type of fucking sense of self. So that was happening as well in the mix of stuff. So it was just crazy. It was a crazy process, my teenage years, and I don't know, like I just felt like talking about that because wow, bro, we all go through shit. Like we really do all go through shit, and it's amazing to see the things you can make it out of, and what lessons your soul has for you when you're ready to receive them. And I really see now that leaning on myself and having trust mostly in myself. Wait, I didn't word that correctly, but having trust in myself the most. That's what it is. Having trust in myself the most, and trusting my intuition, because it is very powerful. And I think that a lot of my life, my intuition was steered away from me, but I see that it was because I have this very beautiful ability to just see into things and see into myself and kind of pull myself out of the deep end when it's time to go swimming, and learning how to fucking swim, most importantly, through emotions, through life, through these challenges that your soul gives you in order for you to develop and evolve on an energetic level, or whatever people say. But just how I have words for it is how I'm talking about it. But I know that there's so many different things to say about life, and I just want to say that it's a very beautiful process, and I want to start honoring that it is beautiful. I made a couple video notes the other day talking about my experience and just my process of things, and I really, dog, bugs are crazy, but I just really am learning to come into a space of honoring myself and what that looks like for me, and listening to myself and standing more in my integrity with myself, and just getting to know my value system. A lot of my life I was steered away from living and just put into a state of survival, and I'm still kind of like in that state of survival. I go back and forth, and I really just want to I don't know, I'm just really focused on living now, and just being okay with the things that are going on, and not really getting lost in the sauce, you know what I mean? Like, just not really being like so engulfed in chaos, because I love chaos. I really do. It's amazing. I don't think a lot of people can make it out of that and be okay, or be in it and be okay, but you just have to feel it. And I think that that's a really big lesson, and just a really big gift that I was given, is just all the chaos that has happened, all the traumatic shit. Like, you have this beautiful ability to go through it and learn from it. And yeah, Saturn is heavy in my chart, in astrology anyways, to bring up astrology again, but Saturn is very heavy in my chart. I have a Venus, Mercury, Chiron, and Sun in Capricorn, so like Saturn is on my ass. And like I was saying before, my moon conjunct Saturn, like that placement, it just shows like how thick and how expansive my experience has been. Like, just having all this knowledge and all of this wisdom coming into this life, I just feel very burdened by it. And when you look at it from a more progressed point, and a more like, okay, this isn't for me to really be like sad or like guilty or anything. This shit happened because I'm worthy of it happening, and I'm worthy of the gifts that it has to bear. And I'm at a point in my life where I am feeling like very transitional, so I felt like really open to talking about the things that happened, because like I'm like flipping the page a little bit more. And yeah, I'm excited for these new lessons and growth, even when I feel like shaky about it. I feel like really, like, at this point, life has some great things to show me, and I just wanted to get into some video notes about what life has shown me thus far, and to be able to return back to these, to be like, okay, I have gone through that. Like, I have gone through that, and like, here I am able to talk about it. Like, before, there were things that weren't even able to come out of my mouth, because there was just so much fear around it, and just a lot of just scary movements. So yeah, I wanted to put this into a video note and post it. So that's that. But yeah, I'll be back with more life stuff pretty soon. And when I'm able to like put it, I think I'm gonna write some notes down about the next video I want to talk about, because I be talking and I just be talking with no aim. That's a Gemini moon thing. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about some other stuff next time and how I just moved through that and like my whole process. But yeah, love y'all, and thank you for whoever watches all the way through.